One of the questions I hear most often from project leaders is, does our project need change management? The answer to this question can make the difference between a project that struggles and one that goes smoothly, creates value, and is more than a passing fad. Hey, before I answer this important question, make sure to like this video and subscribe or follow to get more tips on leading organizational change. Okay, well, there are two reasons why project leaders ask whether they need change management. First, projects are under increased budget pressure, and there's a strong desire to minimize the cost of external resources. That's fair, right? Every project should determine the most cost-effective way to get the job done. But more often, the question is really about whether change management provides any value. And I get that. And I think this skepticism is completely justified. Because project leaders know from their past experience that all too often they hire change resources and get a bunch of deliverables, but their projects still struggle with people issues. As one project manager recently told me, we had multiple change resources and spent a chunk of our budget on branding and websites and videos, but none of it made a difference. Stakeholders still complained there wasn't enough communication, and the project was in a constant state of conflict. I'm not sure why we spent the money. Sounds familiar, right? Here's the underlying problem. When most project leaders think of the tasks of change management, they think of a punch list of activity that produces communication materials and end-user training content. Those activities and deliverables are tangible and measurable, but they also seem to do very little to solve a bigger issue. Project leaders also know that a big need on projects is to navigate the stakeholder landscape, to manage conflict, to align executives, to manage resistance to the solution, to build commitment to the new way of operating. That's the underlying need. It's what they really want change management to accomplish. But that's also a set of more intangible outcomes and why logical, pragmatic, task-oriented project leaders struggle with it. What every experienced project leader knows, and the research is quite clear on this point, is that communication and training do not solve the stakeholder challenges. They're important tasks on projects, but they have little correlation to project success. So let's stop calling that change management. Instead, change management is about the activities that deliver stakeholder commitment, that help people navigate the uncertainty, the pushback, the conflict, and alignment that lead to supporting the project. So to determine whether you need change management, let me give you a simple framework for that decision. You have to identify whether your project is technical or social. I've put a link in the description to a 15-minute e-learning module that goes into this in greater depth. But for now, here's a quick answer to get you started. If your project has these 5 characteristics, you will need change management. 1, is the project multifaceted? Meaning you may be implementing technology, but you likely also have to change policy, process, roles, performance criteria, or other elements of the operation. Does the project cut across organizational boundaries, meaning that multiple areas will need to create and agree on the solution? Third, does it require changes in values, beliefs, roles, relationships, and other approaches to work? In other words, are we changing something very personal or something that has a personal impact? 4, we need subject matter experts to help you create the solution. Do they have information critical for us to configure it? And finally, will the solution require trial and error, experiments, discoveries, or negotiations? Will the solution be difficult to implement through an authoritative edict alone? If any of these 5 conditions exist, yes, your project will need change management. And the good news for your budget is that it can be delivered through your leadership and the leadership of those on your project team. Stay tuned for more content to help you learn the skills of leading change.